You are listening to What I Know for Sure, the podcast, where we talk about hard truths in business, life, and manage to create an impactful community of learning, growth, and positive humans loving on each other. I'm your host, Kallai, entrepreneur, fractional COO, and podcaster. Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome back. We are in 2022 officially. Isn't that wild? When I think about the past 2 years, especially since the pandemic started, 2020 was quite a devastating year outside of the pandemic for our family. We had rolled into 2020 with a ton of grief from losing my sister-in-law. And then the pandemic hit in March. And then in May, our town experienced what they call a 100-year flood. And with the 100-year flood, we had lost all the contents in our basement. Thank God that's all we lost. But our entire neighborhood / another neighboring town was just wiped out clean of devastation, a lot of belongings, a lot of basements tipped in, and a lot of rebuild. So most of our community had spent 2021 sort of rebuilding, bouncing back, insert all the turmoil from just sort of the economy that is not necessarily doing well, with the inflation and things. Our city has really, really had a hard time. And so it's left a lot of heavy feelings, but also a lot of optimism that if our town, if our city can bounce back from this, they can bounce back from everything. And I'm getting teary. I'm thinking about it because I've lived here my whole life. And it is really fascinating / sad to see this community really band together when it's absolutely necessary and still continue to do that. I mean, there are still people rebuilding, unfortunately. I'm sure there are people who have had to relocate because our town is not, I guess you could say our town is probably one of the most expensive to live in our area. And so for people to have to now start over somewhere else, it makes me sad. But 2021 really was the year of rebuild in a lot of ways. 2021 also was the year that I started my business and walked away from corporate. And so it still was a building phase. Rolling into this year, I have a lot of hope. I have a lot of optimism. I have a huge fire under my belt to where I'm moving out of the build phase and into the pivot phase. So you will see a lot of things coming down that pipeline. But as promised, I wanted to chit chat about business goals and the personal goals that I have. The previous 2 podcasts, so last week we talked all about personal goals, how to set those up, pretty much managing yourself, right? Just like you would your business and utilizing sort of that model in your personal life. And then the week before that, we talked all about business goals and using the SWOT analysis, using that to then pivot into creating your goals and making them SMART goals. And with SMART goals, it is easy then to outline the steps in which you're going to achieve them and how you're going to track your progress and what that means for creating them in a timely manner. So if you didn't get a chance to catch up on those episodes, I will link them in the show notes for you, and those will be available for you to go back and listen to. But today I want to share my goals that I have with my business and myself, because I think it's important that as a thought leader in this area, that I am completely transparent and that I provide encouragement at all different facets, not just the doing part, but also the implementation on my end. So that's sort of what we're going to do today. And so we will just jump right in. For my business goals, my number one goal is to increase my income that Calico is bringing in by 10%. And so when we talk about revenue, that is after, expenses have been paid, still having that 10%. And I should say, I am going to get this goal met by December of 2022. I have some things that are happening in the back end and a pipeline that is coming in order that I think that the 10% is a realistic goal and that it will be able to be met probably well before December of 2022. But again, we are making realistic goals, right? We're not just swinging for the fences and hoping we're going to get it knocked out of the park. So my second goal is to hire a VA. That is one that is going to be happening relatively soon, more so because I am more clear about my goals. I'm more clear on what I need inside of my business and really have done an analysis and set up some SOPs in order for someone to totally step in and be able to handle the back end of things. Number three is reduce my business spending by 5%. So my big focus for the first quarter of the year is to look at what I am spending out of my business. And so that will be a combination of subscriptions that I am paying out and, maybe looking at an alternative for what is going to be best for me moving forward. Because I am a smaller business, I don't know that I need something as robust as, like a Dubsado. I do need a CRM. I recognize that, but I'm just trying to find something that would be able to house everything that I'm trying to do. So really looking at sort of what I'm spending, especially like through storage and things of that nature. Am I using the storage? Can I move it to somewhere else? So that's really going to build out the first quarter for me, which also contributes to my number one goal, right? Is increasing the total revenue. And so part of that is looking at your expenses and saying, what can we reduce? What are the things that I'm not paying out to further then help along with that increase? If you hear my cat sneezing, she will not leave the office this morning. So we're in here doing this together. Also, number four is make $500 in passive income. Again, this is just sort of a mile marker to stay on trend with the things that I'm doing on the back end. I am going to achieve this goal probably by the summer, but I do have it slated that if the $500 does not come until the end of the year, that is totally fine, but that is a goal of mine. And then from there, just continuing to scale and move forward. Passive income is really important if you have an online business because it's an easy way to make money while you sleep, right? And the more that you can expand your income, the more branches that you can put sort of on your tree for income to come into you is always a good thing. And they call that diversifying your income. Being able to have all of these different sources, that way, if you have a month or a year where one of those sources is lacking, you are still able to be in a position where you're getting income from different sources. So again, 2021 was the year of the build for me, and now 2022 is more of pivoting and getting beyond sort of the status quo to be able to generate more income. Not that that's the focus. The focus for me is really being able to help women in business get secure, get grounded, be confident in the business that they have, and being able to make those moves so that we are all getting a piece of the pie. But I also recognize that in my individual business, that passive income is something that I am needing. So, and then number five is to increase my overall brand awareness. And so by brand, I mean what I do, who I service. I really want people to get engaged and I want to be able to reach as many women as possible that have maybe either been sitting on the sidelines saying, oh man, I really wish I could start that business, and providing some education behind that and utilizing my God gifted talent of my brain, right, to help women do that, because I know that I have made it possible within my own life to take the leap of faith and start a business. And I know that part of that is finding a community of women that believe in you just as much as you believe in yourself. So those are my business goals. I'm super jazzed for this next year. And if you don't follow me on social, feel free to head over to my Instagram and follow me and start a conversation and engage in the posts that I have there, because building a community is super important to reaching your goals. So now we will shift to the personal goals. And I'm looking at my cat on the floor right now. She is being quite something. So if you hear her loud meows, once again, we're trapped in this office together because she will not be. So my personal goals, again, just briefly, I will touch on sort of what we had talked about in the previous episode. And that was, when you're building personal goals, it is totally outside of your family, totally outside of what you do for your business. And that's a hard one, right? Because sometimes as a mom, as a wife, your personal goals tend to bleed into family goals. And maybe one of your goals is being the best mom that you can be. And what I would say to that is, yes, that is a good goal to have. But I would say that that is marked under your family goals. And really, that be the best mom, or, maybe spend more time with my kids, because that's a family goal. Some of that then bleeds into your personal goal, and a personal goal recommendation for that would be create more self-care opportunities for me so I am more refreshed to engage in my family. Find areas in my life where I can become part of a group that encourages me to be the best mom that I can. Because as a mom, as a wife, you have to have something that you are doing outside of them. You can't pour from an empty cup. We all know that. And so part of the encouragement then is to find opportunities where you're growing personally so that you can show up and be the best person for your family that you want to be. So moving on, my priorities is number one, continuing to work on my health. Notice I didn't say anything about weight loss. I didn't say anything about mid-sized jeans. If you know anything about me personally, you will know that I have a huge disdain for the fit community, for the supplement community. I was a power lifter. I was inside of the fit community for quite some time, and it's really a toxic place to be. So when I got diagnosed with my RA, it really was a mission for me to alleviate a lot of the inflammation in my body. And for me to be able to do that, that's really looking at my overall health and saying, what can I do to improve that? And so with that, it's just making sure that I'm getting more vegetables, more lean meats, looking for opportunities to reduce the inflammation, because that's all super important for my body. And number two is work on eliminating my debt. So part of working on eliminating my debt is paying off my consumer debt. I am on trend to get that paid off by the end of the year as far as my credit cards and things. And then the only thing I will have left is my student loans. And so I would be so happy which my plan that I have worked out, I'm going to be able to achieve this. So I will be paying off all of my credit cards, my car, and contributing $5,000 towards my student loans by December of 2022. So I'm super excited, pumped about that. some ways that I'm going to make sure that I'm achieving that is by utilizing debt trackers. I'm a super visual person. And so being able to have something where I'm, coloring the box or making sure that I'm achieving that, I have in my planner, I freaking plan. And so part of what that entails is having all of my categories in one planner because it's easy for my little ADHD brain to move through the sections and get those things accomplished that I need to accomplish. So within my finances section, I have my budget plan and I have my debt trackers so that I'm able to efficiently track that and make sure that I'm meeting that goal. And then my third goal is to read 2 books a month. If you follow me on Instagram, you know that I posted 3 books, mainly because the one book that I have, I'm almost finished with. And I will be tracking my book reading with a physical tracker, again, within sort of my Franken planner. And then plan ahead each quarter. I have a ton of books that are sitting on my bookshelf that need to get read. We will pay attention to the one that I bought yesterday to add to that bookshelf. But I have probably a ton of books that could get me through summer. So super excited to make that part of my plan. And then number 4 is to experience new things. And so I am planning on each quarter, whether it's with my husband or a solo trip or with a girlfriend, I'm planning on at the very least once a quarter to make a commitment to go travel and experience something new, whether that's in my state, whether that's in the United States, just being able to get out and use that as a brain release and, share the experiences with my husband. We love to be together and love to do things together. And so being able to have something to look forward to just really forces that engagement that we are, spending time together and doing those things. We do date nights. If you listen to any of the previous podcasts with me and him, you will know that, we do have date nights and we do a lot of things together, but being able to have a brand new experience once a quarter, that's something that seems to not only fit well within our household and things that we always have go on, but also within our budget. So that's super important too when you're talking about traveling and experiences. You can totally find things that are well within everybody's budget to be able to do. And so if you don't have, a goal to create new experiences, I would definitely encourage that. And then the final goal is to become more active in my church. So my church is huge into the community and they do a lot of things for the community. And so that is something that I would love to just start doing again, even at the very least, if it's once a quarter. I would love to participate within the church to reach out to the community and just love on them a little more. They were huge and instrumental in sort of getting not only our church members that were affected, but even just the general community, rebuilding some of the homes. And so knowing that I am a part of a church that gives back to the community and really hones in on the message of going to make disciples of all nations really just makes me happy and I'm encouraged to be able to do that and have a place where I'm with like-minded individuals to go out and do God's work. So super jazzed about all of that. I am super excited for this year. Again, these are not resolutions. These are goals that are just simply to be met. I've chosen to start them at the beginning of the year. If you're listening to this in the middle of the year and you're like, well, it's too late to set goals, it's never too late to set goals. And you don't have to wait till the new year. You don't have to wait till a new month. You can start today. And so it's really just pulling yourself at a 500-foot view and saying, what are the things that I want to accomplish? I will link all the resources that I use to gather the information to do the SWOT analysis, both on myself and my business, and turn them into SMART goals. And I hope you all really take a deep dive into where you are and where you would like to be, and the action steps that you need to have to be able to achieve great things. Thanks for listening to What I Know for Sure, the podcast. If you heard something today that helped you, I would love it if you would go leave a review, share it with your friends. This helps more people like you become inspired, just like you are. If you would like to learn more about how I can help you streamline and position your business for growth or start that business, feel free to jump into the show notes with all the links to find me. And don't forget to head over to Instagram so we can be pals.